Can you guys share my screen? Yeah, that's cool. Okay, now I can see the charts. Okay, hello everyone. Good evening all of you. Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Am I audible? Everyone, please let me know. Am I audible? And can you also see my screen? Okay, that's really great. That's really great. So good evening all of you, and I welcome back to your JavaScript Essential course. And today is the second day. So again, we are in for a lot of things. So we are going to do a lot of things. We're going to cover conditions, loops, and arrays. So let's see how far we can go. And for tomorrow, we have planned do manipulation as well. So we are trying to cover up pretty good things in 3 days. So that's fine. That's fine. We can do it. Okay, I can see a lot of familiar names today as well. And for all the new people, I welcome you all to our JavaScript Essentials course. My JavaScript code is not coming in colors once, sir. I didn't understood and code 2 not working. Your JavaScript code is not coming in colors. That might be the problem with the theme, Abhiram. That might be the problem with the theme. Zoom a little. Can you guys see my font size, everyone? Is my font size visible? Because if I like zoom more than this, then it will become like really big. So is my font size visible to everyone? Please tell me, guys. Is my font size visible? Yes, I have zoomed it shy. So is it visible now? Which theme you use, sir? I use the default theme, the theme that VS Code provides. I use that only. I have not installed any kind of theme in my VS Code. I use the default theme that is provided by VS Code. Okay. And yes, Chandresh is reminding me so that we can understand what is the difference between let and var. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay. So for all the people, just one thing, like who are like new to VS Code, who don't know anything about VS Code, I would like to tell you that if you're doing web development and if you're doing HTML, CSS, and JS in specific, I would like to tell you that you should install few extensions that will help you. So for all the people who know VS Code, they know what is this. For all the people who don't know, they are nothing but some internal VS Code libraries that you can install in your software, and then they will like make your VS Code better. That's all. Efficient. Okay. That means like VS Code is not an editor that comes with all the features by default. It's not loaded with all the features. That's why its size is very less as compared to other editors. Okay. So what VS Code believes is, fine, I'm going to give you a default version, okay, a basic version of VS Code. Then you have all the extension library available. Just go here and depending on your need, download an extension, and then that support will be added in your VS Code. Okay. So what I use, I'll tell you what I use normally for HTML, CSS, and JS. So I have this HTML and CSS snippets that I've installed. So first of all, install this one, HTML, CSS support, and then install this one, HTML snippets. These two are the best. Okay. So I hope you guys can hear me. Install HTML, CSS support and install HTML snippets. And what about Visual Studio? Visual Studio, see, we are not using it because Visual Studio is something that is completely like a environment, a bigger IDE than VS Code, because VS Code is just like a code editor, and Visual Studio is like an environment for Microsoft development, right? You do that C# thing, WPF, all that software building things, right? Xamarin and everything. So Visual Studio is like a kind of an environment. Okay, it's very heavy, and that is basically used for developing Microsoft products. VS Code is just like a lightweight code editor. Okay, guys. So Visual Studio is different and VS Code is different. Okay. Okay. So the extension I want you to install is HTML, CSS support and HTML snippets. These two will help you in the HTML, CSS thing. And one more thing I would like to tell you to install is this one. If you have it, it's fine. If you don't have it, install this one. Yeah, this one. Even I have not installed it. I think I don't need it, but yeah, you can install it. Prettier code formatter. So install this as well so that it will format your code in the best way possible. Okay. So also install Prettier code formatter. And one more thing that you should install is this one, error lens. Okay, this one. So if you do any mistake on the side only, VS Code will tell you what mistake you're making. If you're missing a semicolon, if you're missing a comma, if you're missing a bracket, VS Code will on the spot tell you that, okay, fine, you're missing this, please solve it. Okay, so also install error lens. So right now, you only need 3 to 4 extensions: HTML, CSS support, HTML, CSS snippets, and error lens, and prettier if you want it, then only. Otherwise, there's no need of it. But yeah, if you install it, it will be good. So error lens is important. So for the basic things, these 3 to 4 extensions are the best. Is that clear, everyone? Abhiram, I use a lot of extensions, buddy, because I do mobile app development, I do Flutter development, I do React Native, I do React. So I do a lot of things. So I have a lot of extensions. Okay. So not a problem. In future essentials, when you come to my course, I'm going to show you all the extensions that I use. Right now, actually, there is no need of showing all the extensions actually. Okay, I have like a lot of extensions installed. You can see here. See, I have a lot of extensions depending on my needs, depending on what I work with. Okay. So not a problem at all. In future, I'll definitely show basically in some other course. Like for example, if you're in my React course, then I'm going to show you what React extensions, like specific React extensions I use. I'm going to show you that as well. But for this particular thing, you only need 3 to 4 extensions. Okay. And on Saturday and Sunday, this week only on Saturday and Sunday, we also have a React for beginners course on Saturday and Sunday live on YouTube. So yeah, you guys are also welcome there. Come join and let's learn together. Okay, so that was just like an announcement. On Saturday and Sunday, we also have a React course. Okay, this weekend. Okay, guys, so can we start with today's session, everyone? Are we ready? Are we excited? Can we start with today's session? Because we have a lot to cover. Sagar, it would be around 8 to 10. Yeah. Okay, guys, so can we start, everyone? Okay, so that was the announcement. React course is coming up on this Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 10 IST. Okay, so let's start, guys. So yesterday, we left off at variables. So now we know how to create variables, and now we know how to print it, and we know how to print in 2 ways. Okay, one is by using the concatenation, that we use the plus operator, and the other way is to use the templating, where you can simply use this backtick and then dollar, the the expression language, dollar curly braces and your variable. So we learned about this yesterday. So tell us the difference between let and var. Yes, I'm going to tell you. So that's really good that you guys reminded me. Just wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Let's learn something like conditions and everything. Then I can like tell you properly what is the difference between let and var. Because right now, if I like tell you what is block scoped and everything, you will not understand that much. Okay, so let's wait for like 5 to 10 minutes. Let's learn few things, and then we'll come back to let and var again. Okay, so don't worry about it. That H1 is doing nothing. It was just for output. That's all. That's all. Manjul Ramesh, that was nothing. It was just for output. Okay, so guys, now today the first thing that we'll do is we'll see what is the second way of writing JavaScript. Like this was the first way. We were integrating our script inside the HTML page. Now, when you do this, like when you write JavaScript in this way, this is called as internal JavaScript. When you embed your JavaScript code in the HTML code, that is known as internal JavaScript. And that is something that you do with the script tag. Okay, now today I'm going to show you how to write external JavaScript. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to completely remove this. We don't need it now. Okay, and today we'll create a complete new file that is completely dedicated to JS. And that's why the file's extension is also .js. So first, like you can pick any name. So I'm just picking first.js. And now I have a file which is completely dedicated to JavaScript. Now here, I can simply write JavaScript. No need of script tag, nothing. But there is one thing. How will this JavaScript file know that this is the HTML that I'm working for? Or how will this HTML file know that, okay, fine, which JavaScript file is my file, right? From where should I pick my JavaScript? So basically, there is one thing that you have to do when you create a separate JavaScript file, and that is you have to link both the files. Just like external CSS, you also have external JS. So now we have to learn how to link the HTML file and JS file so that they can work together. Okay, and that's really simple. Again, come to the bottom of the body, and here, just put a script tag again. And then inside the opening script tag, there's an attribute named src that stands for source. And in that, you can simply pass the file path of your JavaScript file. And that's it, done. Now you have actually linked the JavaScript file. And now whatever JavaScript you want, you can write here. So now basically you're writing your JavaScript separately and HTML separately. Now you're not mixing your JavaScript inside the HTML page. Now, some people ask which way is better. So both are fine, both are good. It's just like When you have a small JS, when you know that you can only write like 15 lines of JS, 20 lines of JS, you can go for internal JavaScript. But when you know that you're going to have like 300 lines of JS, 400 lines of JS, don't go for internal JavaScript, because that will make your code messier. And that's why you should like create an external JavaScript file, a separate JavaScript file. Is that clear? SRC means source, Sarma. SRC means source. Is that clear? Okay. Now let's test this if this external JavaScript is still working. So let's run our HTML page first. So I'll simply copy the path. Okay. So let's copy the path, and let me just get a browser window for you. Here we go. And let's run this file. You can see we have the hello guys, that is showing that the HTML file is running properly. And we know that right now we are only working with console. So let's open the console again. Okay. And now just to confirm that the JS is working properly, let's go in our code and let's simply put a testing line. So just simply put a console.log. I am working. Save it. Just go in your HTML page and refresh it. And here we go. We get I am working. That means the JS file is properly linked with our HTML file. Is that clear, everyone? In console, errors all showed, sir. Yes, yeah. Like in your console, errors are showing, or are you like telling me that in consoles we also show errors? So are you confused? Like, are you telling me that in your console errors are getting shown? Inside the script tag is inline.js? No. Surya Prakash, using JS inside the script tag in the HTML page is called as internal JS. And we generally don't write inline JS. There is a way, but we don't write inline JS. That is not a, what you call suggest. That is not a suggested thing. That is not a good practice. Okay, so we should always avoid inline JS. Is that clear, Surya Prakash? Okay, so we should only follow two ways: either the internal one, where we use script tag and we write it inside the HTML page, and the other one is creating a separate page and linking it. Is that clear, Surya Prakash? Can you tell me what is the error, Abhiram? Can you tell me what is the error? What is the error message that you're getting? Okay, guys. So now let's move ahead. Okay, let's move ahead. And today we're going to learn about conditions, we're going to learn about loops, and we're going to learn about arrays. So I hope you guys are excited, and let's start with it. So yesterday we learned about variables. Okay, yesterday we learned about variables. Now today's first topic is something called as conditional statements. Okay, so if you know about it, it's really cool. If you don't know, not a problem. I'm going to explain it all to you. So let me just first write down the topic. So we are going to learn conditional statements. Okay, now what is the meaning of a conditional statement? Okay, what is the meaning of a conditional statement? For example, let's say sometimes what happens is you want to execute some code, but based on a condition, based on a comparison. For example, like you have seen this example, right, in your previous programming language, if you've learned it. Like, for example, you want to perform something. Let's say you want to make a user eligible for voting, but before they are eligible for voting, you check if they are 18 or not, right? That means you want to execute some code. Like, for example, let's say I have this code. Okay, it's console.log. For example, just say simply hello. Okay, and I have a variable named, let's say, let age equals 14. Okay, simple example. So I have a age equals 14 variable, and I simply have a console.log hello. Now in this case, normally if I save this code and check out my output, I'll get hello. Totally fine, perfect. But let's say this is some really important calculation code. This is some really important code, and I want to only perform this particular code if my age variable's value is 18. That means I want to perform something based on a condition, based on a check. I don't want to perform something directly. I want to perform a code. I want to execute a part of a code based on a comparison check, based on a condition. How can I do that? Are you guys getting my point, everyone? So just simply think that this is a very important code. This console.log hello is a very, very important code, but I want to only execute this if my age value is 18. Currently it's 14, but I want to like write a condition that, okay, fine, if age is 18, then only execute this console.log, otherwise don't execute it. So are you guys getting my point, everyone? Are you guys getting my point, what I'm trying to say here? So sometimes there are like possibilities where you want to execute some code, but based on a condition that it, if it happens, then only this should execute. If it is not happening, then this code, like this code should not be executed. So what if we tackle a situation like this? How to perform that conditional way of execution in our code? Is that cleared? We use Sagar, we use, don't worry, you'll see it, Sagar, don't worry. So guys, are we clear with the concept? Why we need conditional statements? Are we cleared, everyone? Why do we need conditional statements? Is that cleared, everyone? Please tell me. Sir, we have to use let function for declare variable. Is it is necessary, or simply we can write? You can also write simply ECE, but it's not a good practice. So the best practice is to use let or var. Is that clear, ECE? The best practice is to use let or var. Okay, it's just like a good standard. Okay guys, so now that you have understood what is like the use of a conditional statement, why we are going to need it, so let's see how to actually execute it, how to write it. Okay, so now to write conditional statements, you simply have an inbuilt keyword that is provided by JavaScript. So you have a keyword called if. You have a keyword called if that will help you to write a conditional statement. If is the keyword that will help you to write a conditional statement. So now guys, to write it, I'll first of all let you know the syntax, like how to exactly write it. So it's going to be really simple. What you do is you write if, okay, that is your keyword. Then here you put brackets. These are known as rounded brackets, or you can also call it parentheses. Rounded brackets are also called parentheses. Okay, and then here you put your condition. And then you have curly brackets that are nothing but the body of that condition. Okay, and in here you write your code that you want to execute. Okay, so this is how it goes. If, and then your condition, and then simply the body. Now whatever code you put in this body will only execute if this condition is correct. If this condition is false, this block, this particular block, now this is what you call as a block. Whenever you have a curly braces opening and closing, and whatever you code, like whatever code you write inside it, it's called a block of code. So whenever you have a curly braces, that is called as a block. Remember it, guys. That is called as a block. Okay, so in this case, this is a block. Okay, and whatever code I write inside that can be called as a block of code. Now this particular block of code will only execute if this condition is correct. When I say correct, that means if the condition is true. If the condition is false, it will never execute. It will simply skip outside. It will go ahead and start executing the other lines, like this one. It will simply skip the block if the condition is false or incorrect. Is that cleared, everyone? Guys, are we clear with the concept here? Everyone, please tell me, are we cleared? Now I'm going to show you how to write conditions and everything. Don't worry about it. But are we cleared with the concept here? So my VS Code is not showing code suggestion. Is there any extension for that? No, it should, like, you should install HTML CSS snippets first, okay, and also install JavaScript support. Then it will start showing the suggestions. Normally it shows suggestion for HTML and JavaScript by default, but install the extensions first and then see if it is working. Okay, so that's how you write it, guys. That's the syntax. And now let's try to integrate this. Let's try to see that can I do this thing that I was like telling in the start. Like what I wanted is, I wanted to execute this code only if the age is 18. Otherwise, I don't want to execute it. Okay, so how to do it? And here we go. Let's do it. We write the if, okay, and then here we're going to write our condition, and then this is the block that will execute if the condition is correct. Now I don't want this code to be executed by default. I want this code to be only executed if the condition is correct. So I'll simply put it inside the block. That means now if the condition is correct, then only this code will execute. But now how to write the condition? How to write the condition properly? So now for that, you have something called as conditional or comparison operators. You have something called as conditional or comparison operators. So first of all, I'll tell you all the operators related to condition or comparison, and then we'll see how to use them. So these are few operators. You have something called as greater than, you have something called as less than, you have something called as greater than equal to, you have something called as less than equal to, then you have something called as equal to, that's simply equal to, okay, that simply checks if it is equal or not, and then you have something called as not equal to. Now, these are the few operators that you have as conditional or comparison. And you use these operators to write down your conditions. You have greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. You have double equal to, but that can be called as a normal equals operation. Okay. Why we have double equal to? Because we have already utilized or used single equal to for assignment, for assigning variables, for assigning value to variables. We are already using equal to for some other purpose, and that's why for conditional purposes we are going to use double equal to, because we don't want the program to be confused. And that's why they have given you something called as double equal to for comparison and single equal to for assignment. Okay, fine. Now then, how to write your conditions. Don't worry about triple equal. I'm also going to tell that. Don't worry. Let's go step by step, right? We always go step by step. You know, Shy. Okay. So let's go step by step. First of all, we have to see the problems, and then the solution. Like, then you can understand the solution in the better way if you know the problem. If I directly tell you how to use triple equal to, it might get confusing. So let's first of all see the problem with that. Okay. Now, guys, let's write the condition. So my condition was, if age is 18 or above, then only this code should be executed. So I'm going to write it simple. My variable, that is age, if it is greater than or equal to 18, and that's it. Now the condition is, if age is greater than or equal to 18, then only this code will be executing. Now you guys can see that here my age is 14. Okay. So now guys, tell me, is this condition is going to be false or true? Come on guys, everyone. Guys, is this condition going to be false or true? Everyone, come on, tell me. Now, guys, see, right now we are on the very simple thing. After this, we're going to go for loops, and after that, we're going to go for arrays. So I want you guys to be there. We're going to learn a lot of things. True is, okay, someone is saying true and everyone else is saying false. So exactly, Lucky, Jane, it's false, right? Because see, our age is 14. And we are checking that if age is greater than or equal to 18. Now, you tell me, is 14 greater than or equal to 18? No, it's definitely false. Okay, now let's see if it is false. Here we go. See, it is false and we are not getting hello. Okay, that's the perfect thing. Now, let me just do this. Let me increase it to 19. Now, my age is 19. That means it's going to be greater than or equal to 18. It's not equal to, but it is greater than 18. So let's check it now. And here we go. We get hello, because now my age is actually greater than 18. Is that cleared, everyone? Are we cleared with this? Guys, come on, tell me, are we cleared with this? Okay, so that's how you write a basic condition, a very, very simple conditional statement. And you're going to need this a lot in future. Don't worry, we're going to also see this, but that's how you write it. Now, let's add one more thing in this. Let's add one more very simple thing in this. Okay, now we know that, okay, fine. If the condition is correct, it will execute the block. If the condition is not correct, it will not execute the block and it will skip it. Let's check it out. Let's write some code outside the block, like console.log. For example, let's say just outside. Okay, save it now and let's check it out. Now, see, this is something that is outside the block. That means this will be executed anyways, always. Let's save it and see. Here we go. Hello and just outside. And if my condition is false, this block will not be executed, but this doesn't have any problem. This is outside. It should be executed. Let's check it out once. Perfect. It still gets executed. That means now we are sure that fine, yeah, this block is only getting executed if this condition is correct. Now, this is fine. Now, I just want to add one more thing to it. Now we know how to write, how to execute a code if the condition is correct. What if my condition is false and I still want to execute something? What if I want to execute something based on a false condition? That means fine, like this. If it is true, execute this. But if it is false, execute this. So basically, I want to say that what if I want to execute something if my condition is wrong? And for that, you simply have an addition to if that is called as else. Just like normal English. And remember, guys, else will not have any condition. So never just go here and put some condition. No, don't do that. Because else is like, if the condition is wrong, then I'll execute. So no need to write a condition for else. Else is also depending on this condition. Okay. So for example, let's say later And now you have two blocks, one of if and one of else. Okay. Now, how it's going to work? If this condition is true, this block will get executed and I'll simply go outside. Done. Else will be also skipped because the condition was true. And if this condition becomes false, this block will, oh, sorry, if this condition becomes false, then the else block will be executed and then it will go outside. So now we have two blocks. One block will be executed if the condition is true, and one block will be executed if the condition is false. And that's how it works. Simple. So else will be executed only if the condition is false, and the if block will be executed if the condition is true. Now to check it, let's do it. Now see, this just outside will always work. Simple. Okay, so let's see if it is working. And here we go. See, we get not greater and just outside. And why we are getting not greater? Because the condition is false. Because our age is 14 and 14 is not greater than or equal to 18. Is that cleared, everyone? So are we cleared with if and else, everyone? Come on, tell me. Are we cleared with if and else? Guys, are we cleared with the basic conditionals? These are the basic conditionals. Very, very basic conditionals. Okay. Now, let's add one more thing to it. Let's add one more thing to it. Okay. What if I want to check multiple conditions at once? What if I want to check multiple conditions at once? For example, I have three conditions. I want to check if age is greater than 18, do this. If age is greater than 35, do this. If age is greater than like something like 54, do this. Or let's get a good example. Let's remove age and let's call it average. Let's call it average. Okay. And let's say I have an average of 67, something like this. Now, what if I want to do something like this? For example, I want to write if average is greater than 70, I want to print A grade. If average is greater than 50, I want to print B grade. If average is greater than 40, I want to print C grade. And if it is less than 40, I want to print fail. That means now I have multiple conditions. I don't have only one condition that might go true or false. I have multiple conditions that can become true or false. So how to handle multiple conditions? And that is also really, really simple, really very simple. So let me just comment this out, okay, so that you can have it if I share the file. And let's go here. And also let me just put the variable so that you can have it. So let age equals 14. So this code will always be there. Now, how to write the multiple condition thing? Okay, and that's really simple. What you do is first you write your first condition with the if. Okay, so if and then your condition. So let's say if average greater than or equal to 70. Okay, I want to print. Okay, we don't have print here. We want what? Console.log. Let's say A grade. Now, I want to write one more condition. I want to write one more condition. But we know that when we want to write condition, we need a if keyword, because with the else keyword, we don't write condition. But remember, guys, whenever you want to write a condition, you need a if keyword, because with else keyword, you don't write a condition. So now I want to write a condition. So the way we do it is this. We write else if. We write something called as else if, and then here we can write down our second condition, else if. So for example, our next thing can be if average is greater than or equal to, let's say 50, I want to console.log B grade. Okay, and now I have one more condition. What if it is greater than 40? So again, the same thing, else if average is greater than equal to 40, I want to print C grade. Okay, and then finally, if all of these conditions go false, that means if any of this is not true, we can simply put a else in the end, because else is always for if everything is false, I'm going to execute. So you can simply have something like this, else simply I'm going to put something called as fail, and that's it. What is the confusion, EC? Can you tell me what is the confusion, Gauri? Okay, it's simple. See, it's simple. Now it's like this. If this condition is true, execute this and then leave everything. If this condition is false, then I'll move to the next condition. Now I'll check this. If this is true, execute this and leave everything else. Okay, skip everything else. But if this is false, go to the next condition and check it now. If this is true, execute this and skip everything else. If this is also false, then finally we'll get to else. That's it. Music love screen is not clear. I think, buddy, I just think you should check the internet connection once, buddy. Just check it once. Just check it once. Because guys, can you tell me, everyone, are we having a clear screen or is it a problem from my side? Can you check? Everyone? Guys, can we check? Is my screen clear? Okay, so music love, please check your internet connection, buddy. Just check it once. I think that might be an issue here. Okay, cool. Okay, guys. So that's how you write it. So remember, now this way of writing conditions is also called as multiple if statement, or you can also call it an else if statement. So there are like people call it either they call it multiple if statement or they call it else if statement. You can call it whatever you want. I normally call it multiple if statement because basically what I think is wherever there is a condition, there is a if. Okay, what I think is wherever there is a condition, there is a if. So if I have multiple conditions, I have multiple ifs, and that's why I call this a multiple if statement. So it's simple. You just have to add a else if. Instead of if, you write a else if. And yes, exactly, it is exactly similar to elif in Python. How to comment at the line at once, sir? It's simple in VS Code. You simply select a line or just go on the line and press Control/. That's how you comment in VS Code. And if you want to uncomment it, just again put Control/ and it will be uncommented. So Control/ is the shortcut for commenting and uncommenting. How to take value from user, I'm going to tell you that too. Don't worry, don't worry. We're going to do it today only. Don't worry. I'll show you one way of getting data from user. Don't worry, Shahid. Don't spam the chat, buddy. I heard your doubt. I'm going to tell you, like, there are multiple ways, but I'm going to show you one way today how to take data from user, and tomorrow I'll show you another way of how to take data from user. Is that clear? Okay, guys, so don't worry everyone. I'm going to show you two ways. Don't worry. Okay, guys, so are we cleared with multiple if statement, everyone? Because I also want to show you some problems with this. This program is not perfectly correct. Okay, Altaf is asking where we use if else. We use it like if you're asking where we use multiple if, we use it a lot of times. A lot of times we have, like, this is the example. What if you have an application where you want to show grades based on the average of the student? This is what you will do. So there are a lot of applications where you're going to need it, where you're going to write multiple if, where you have a lot of conditions and you want to check for each and every condition separately. Why you say multiple if nested if? This is not nested if. Mohammad Kaf, this is not nested if. I'll show you what is nested if. Don't worry. This is not nested if. This is multiple if, or you can also call it else if. Okay, this is not nested if. I'll tell you nested if. And I'm normally not a good supporter of nested if. Okay, but I'll tell you. That should not be a separate concept, but that's fine. I'll tell you nested if. Don't worry. What if two else if statements are true? It's not going to be. It's never going to happen. Because if one is true, every other statement will be skipped. So if you're writing it like that, then we are doing it wrong. If we are writing it like that, if our two conditions getting correct, then we are doing it wrong, because we should never write it like that, right? It's up to us. We are coding it, right, Moin Ansari? So if it is happening, that means we are writing the bad code. Is that cleared, Moin? Okay. Now, guys, I also see this is working perfectly. Let's see if it is working perfectly. See, my average is 67. That means I should get B grade. Let's see if it is working. Save it. Anyway, see, we get a B grade. What if I am 75? What if I have an average of 75? Let's see. We get A grade. Now see, guys, this program is working perfectly, but still has a lot of flaws. And now I want to discuss you with them. And now you'll understand one more kind of operators. Okay. So now let's see. Okay. Now, guys, what is the problem is, for example, let's do this. Everyone, please focus. Everyone, please focus. Let's do this. Let's say I put my first, second condition on the first place, and then I put my first condition in the second place. Simple. Okay. So I'm putting my first condition. I'm putting my first condition in the second place, and the second condition is the first place. Okay. See, the logic is still same. If it is greater than or equal to 50, I want B grade. And if it is greater than or equal to 70, I want A grade. Logic is still the same. But now let's see, do we have a problem? By just replacing, by just moving things up and down, are we getting a problem? Let's see. Save it. And everyone, please focus. And now you can see I got a B grade. Even if I'm having a 75, I'm getting a B grade. And why it is how, like, why it is working like this? Because this works in a sequence. This thing works in a sequence, and in the sequence this thing is executing first, and it is checking if average is greater than or equal to 50, and we know, yes, 75 is also greater than equal to 50, and that's why we are having B grade. That means our conditions are not perfect, because if our conditions are perfect, even if I move my conditions up and down, they should work. In this case, our conditions are not perfectly written, because if they were perfect, even if I move them up and down, they should work properly. Is that clear? And it is happening because it is going in sequence. So now we have the problem of that the conditions are not logically correct. So how can we make it logically correct, even so that even if I move the conditions up and down, it should work perfectly? So again, for that, you're going to have some more conditional operators, which are called as this. This is called as and, this is called as or, and this is called as not. We have three more conditional operators, which are and, or, and not. We have three more conditional operators, guys. We have and, or, and not. And now we're going to use them to understand how to write it. Okay, now, guys, let's focus. Let's focus. Now, see, everyone, please focus. Now, what was wrong in our program? What was wrong in our program? The thing that was wrong was I just told my program that if my average is greater than 50, give me B grade. But I never told it that you should also be less than 70. That means I want to write if my grade is greater than, if my average is greater than 50 and less than 70, then only I should be like, I should have a B grade. If it is greater than 70, then A grade. But if it is greater than 50, but also less than 70, then only B grade. Because if I put 100, 100 is also greater than 50, 100 is also greater than 70, 100 is also greater than 40. It will be correct everywhere, right? Are all for 75, all the conditions are correct. If you check it, for 75, all the conditions are correct, and that's the problem. Okay, and that's what we have to solve. That means now we have to learn how to write multiple conditions inside a single if statement. For example, here I want to write if average is greater than equal to 50 and less than 70, then only it should be B grade. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear? Are we cleared, everyone, guys? Okay, so that's what we have to add now. So let's see how to write multiple conditions inside a single if statement. Okay, and yes, guys, just for like, just so that you know this, these are also called as logical operators. So you can also like call them a conditional operators, or you can also call them logical operators. Okay, totally fine. So like they are working with the conditional operator, but they are mostly called as logical operators. Okay, so now let's do it. To write it, you simply have to go in your if block, if parenthesis, and then after writing your first condition, you can use any two of this and or depending on your condition. Now, these operators basically help you to correct your logic. Okay, and they also help you to write multiple conditions at once. But now, how are you going to like work with them? How are you going to work with them? Because see, if you have multiple conditions, they can evaluate to something, like one condition can evaluate to true, one condition can evaluate to false. So how are you going to decide that which one of these to use? Should we use and, or should we use or? So now for this, you have to remember your truth table. Do we remember our truth table logic from maths, everyone? Do we remember our truth table logic from maths? Do you remember we had and or there? So if it is true and true, it is true. If it is true and false, it is false. If it is true or true, if it is true again, but if it is true or false, it is true. That means for and, if both are true, then only it will go for true. But for or, if any one of it is true, it will go for true. Remember this, guys, everyone? For and, both the conditions should be true. For or, any one of it, if any of the condition is true, it will go ahead. Now, what I want is average is greater than equal to 50 and average is less than 70. I want both the conditions to be true. That means I'm not going to use or, I'm going to use and here, because I want both of my conditions to be true. And let's go then. We'll go here and write and then average is less than 70. Simple. So average is greater than equal to 50 and average is less than 70. Simple. That's it. So if this is true and this is true, then only this whole thing will become true. So if average greater than equal to 50 will true, and if average less than 70 will become true, so if both are true, and will go for true. Is that clear? That's why we have and here. It will check if this is true and this is true, then only this whole thing will become true, and then only this block will be executed. Is that cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Can we make game using JS? Yes, we can obviously make game using JS. Here we have only 3 days. I think in the last time we had 6 days. So on the last day, I built a game in JS. So we can definitely go for building a game in JS. Okay. So now let's also correct it here. We'll also put an and here and write if average is less than equal to 100. Okay. Because the maximum average that I can have is 100 in our case. And then again an and here, and average is less than 50. And now this is perfect. Now let's see, guys, if it is working. Now I get a grade because my average is 75, and now I come in this condition. I skip the first one because average greater than equal to 50. That's true, but average is not less than 70 because we have 75, and that's why we go to the next one. So guys, are we cleared? Now our program, now our conditions are logically correct because of we are using this AND operator. Are we cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared with this? Please tell me. Everyone, are we cleared? Do we have any confusion here? Please go ahead and ask. Are we clear with this, everyone? Altaf, class timing is 6 to 7:30, buddy. Class timing is 6 to 7:30. Altaf. Okay, that's cool, guys. That's cool. Now then, let's move ahead to the next one. And someone was asking about nested if, right? So see, I don't consider nested if like a really big concept. I'll tell you why. Because see, it works like this. See, what is nested if? See, whenever you like hear this word nested, it means something inside something. Okay, like this. If you have a if and then you have a condition, okay, and then inside that we know that you can write any code. Okay, you can write any code. Simple, guys, we know this. So now we have a if and then we have a condition and then you have a code inside it. That means if this condition is correct, this code will be executed. If it is incorrect, we'll go ahead, we'll skip the block. Okay, now when I say there is a code inside, it can be any code, right? It can be a loop, it can be a normal console.log, it can be a variable creation, or it can be another if. Doesn't matter, right, everyone? It can be another if, doesn't matter. But now the most important thing to understand here is it's not a big concept. It's simply like for this particular if, this is just a code, and this code will be only executed if this condition is true. And then we'll go here, and now this if will execute, and again the same thing will happen. If this condition is correct, we'll go inside. So this is what we call nested if there is a if inside a if. But if you think normally, it's nothing. It's just like a code inside a if statement. Is that clear, everyone? It's just like a code inside a if block. That's all, nothing else. Simple. Most people call it a concept, but it's not a concept. It's just like an if inside a if, a code inside a if. That's all. This thing is nothing but a code, right? A code can be anything. A code can be console.log. A code can be anything. A code can be a variable creation. It can be anything. Are we cleared, everyone? And this is what we call as nested if. When you write a if inside a if, it is called a nested if. But there's no need. It's simple that it's a code, and a code can be anything. Is that cleared, everyone? Sai Eswar is asking what is the extension which automatically reloads web page. It's called as live server. You can install an extension called live server, which will automatically reload your web page. Okay. So guys, are we cleared with this? And that's why we are not going to focus on this. It's not that important. Simply writing a if inside a if. That's all. So we can simply leave it. Not a problem at all. Okay. And it is called as nested if. If it is a if inside a if, it's called as a nested if. If there is a block inside a block, it's called a nested block. If there is a function inside a function, it can be called as a nested function. Simple thinking. That's all. So the Hanshu is asking, can you please cover objects? Yes, I'm planning on it. I'm planning that. Actually, I want to cover objects. Yes, I want to cover object. But let's see. Okay, guys. So can we move ahead now? Everyone, can we move ahead? And are we cleared with Logical operators, everyone. Are we clear with how to write a proper conditions, how to write perfect logical conditions? Okay. Now, we also have one more conditional statement, that is switch. But before like we move on to that, I also want to teach you something called as loops before we move on to that. Okay. So first we'll see loops and then we'll move ahead and we'll see the switch statement, the last conditional statement. But we'll see that, don't worry. But before that, I want to teach you loop because it is much more similar to a normal if. Okay. Okay, guys, so can we move ahead now? Everyone, can we move ahead and start with loops? Because now the concept of conditions, I think it is clear to everyone. Yes, Shahid, I'm also going to cover functions, buddy. Don't worry. Tomorrow, I'm going to cover functions. Okay? Okay, guys. Now, let's remove everything that we don't need. Okay, let me just remove this. We don't need this, actually. Let's remove it. And now, let's move on to loops. Now, I know that for some people, this is one of the toughest topics to understand. Some people don't understand loops easily. So now here, we'll try to understand loop in the easiest way possible, and let's see how many of you can easily understand loops. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see. Now, first of all, can I know from you guys what according to you is a loop? Tell me that till the time I comment everything. Nope, no, Vishwa, 3 days are not enough to cover JS, so that's why we're only covering the essentials, the fundamentals. Okay, so let me just comment this out again. And now, guys, can you please tell me what is your understanding of loops? Everyone, come on. What do you guys think about loops? What do you know about it? Can you tell me? Then I'll tell about what is like loops according to me, and then I'll explain how to write it. So come on, guys, everyone. What according to you is a loop? Everyone, come on. Continuation to execute statement again and again. Loop is number of time want to run the condition. Iteration, we need to execute some statements repeatedly. Okay. So yes, you guys are almost correct. Exactly, it is used for repetition. Okay. But now, for all the guys, for all the people who don't even know what is loops, let's try to understand it from very basic. Okay. So now, see everyone, please focus. Please focus. See, in normal terms, loop is something that goes round and round, that goes again and again. In normal terms, that is a loop. Something that goes again and again, that is called as a loop. Okay, but now let's start from the very basic, let's start from the very scratch and try to understand how it actually works, and then by that you'll be able to understand the definition of loops. Okay. Now guys, let's move ahead. So now, first of all, let's take the example of if. I'm not directly telling you the definition, I'll show you everything, and then you'll easily understand what is the definition of a loop. Okay, so guys, please focus. Okay, everyone, please focus here. So for example, let's say you have a if block. Okay, you have a if block and there is a condition, and then inside this block you have your code that's we're going to execute. Now what happens is, if this condition is true, we come inside, we execute the code, and then we simply go outside. Normal. Okay, we come here, we check the condition. If this condition is correct, we come inside, execute the code, and go outside. If this condition is false, we simply skip the complete block and we normally do like go outside. That's how a if block works. Loop is almost similar to a if block. Okay, loop is almost similar to a if block, but there is only one catch that I want to tell you. Okay, so guys, let's see. So for example, let's say this is not a if condition. Let's say we write a loop. Okay, and loop, as I'm saying it, loop is almost similar to a if condition. Okay, normally, but there is one extra thing that it does. Now what is it? So let's say we are not writing a if condition. Let's say we're writing a loop. Now again, guys, loop also has a condition. Loop also has a condition and a block that you're going to execute, and again it will have some code. Now guys, please focus everyone, there's a catch, please focus. Same thing, we'll come here, we'll check the condition. If it is correct, sorry, let's say if it is false, we'll simply go outside, skip the block, leave it, skip the block. But if this condition is correct, we'll come inside, we'll execute the code just like if. But now here's the catch. And the catch is, if it is a loop, it will, after executing the code, it will not go outside, it will simply go back up. That's a by default feature of a loop. After executing the code, it will again go back to the first line, and again it will check the condition. And now again, if the condition is correct, it will come inside, execute the code, and again it will go back up. That means the by default feature of a loop is after executing the block, it will again go back up. Always it will again go back up. This is the feature of a loop. That means if the condition is correct, every time this thing will go again and again, again and again, again and again. It will never stop. And that's why this thing is called as a loop. That's why this thing here is called as a loop. Something that goes again and again, we simply call it a loop. And that's why people have called this execution, this kind of execution, as a loop execution. And that's why the name loop. Is that clear, everyone? And why we have made this, I'll tell you. Why the programmers have made this kind of thing, I'm also going to tell you that. You can easily understand it right now. For example, now we know if this condition is true, we're again going to come back in, we'll execute the code, we'll go back up, again check the condition. If it is correct, we'll come back in, again execute the code. That means our code is getting executed again and again, again and again, again and again. And that's where the benefit of loop is. For example, if you think, okay, fine, this is a statement, this is a set of code that I want to execute again and again. Let's say 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, infinite times. I just want to execute it again and again. So instead of writing it multiple times, you can put it inside a loop. And if it is inside a loop, it will simply execute again and again, because loop runs itself again and again, again and again, again and again. And that's why whenever you feel I have a code that I want to execute multiple times or again and again, you can simply put that code inside a loop, because loop by default works or executes itself again and again. It will never go outside. It will always go back up. Are we cleared, everyone? That's the logic behind the loop. Okay, so if the condition is correct, it will come inside, execute the code, and remember, it will always go back up. It will never go outside, always go back up, and again check the condition. Is that clear? And the only time the loop will end is if this condition becomes false. That means it will always go back up, and only when the condition becomes false, it will break it and go outside. That means the only way to stop a loop is to make the condition false. The only way to stop a loop is to make the condition false. And that's the basic logic behind the loop. Now you don't have to think about the names of the loops or how to write it. Just now you have to understand the logic behind the loop. And this was for everyone. Because see, I know that a lot of people from you know how to write loops. You have learned C, you have learned C++. This was for all the people who have never heard of loops. That's how normally a loop works. So guys, are we cleared? And now we're going to see how to write this looping in JavaScript. Okay, everyone? Yes, there are multiple. There are a lot of loops, Kiran Kanti. I'm going to tell you, don't worry. So guys, are we cleared? Everyone, are we cleared? Please tell me. Okay, now then, let's move ahead and let's see what are the keywords we have by which we can actually start writing loops. What are the keywords that we have by using which we can actually start writing loops? So by default, okay, or like in just the basics, there are 3 basic keywords available in JS that help you to write loops. There are 3 basic keywords available in JS that help you to write loops. And the keywords are this. You have something called as while. You have something called as do while. And then finally, you have something called as for. These are the 3 basic keywords available for looping. As you progress in JavaScript, you will see different kinds of loops in future. But for basic, these are the 3 basic keywords available by using which you can start writing loops. Is that clear, everyone? And remember, guys, the concept of loop is same everywhere. In every programming language, and whatever kind of loop it is, doesn't matter, the concept is same. But yes, there are few basic differences. That's why they have different names. There are few basic differences, but the concept is always same. It is looping. It is going on again and again. Okay, just there are some basic differences. That's why they have different names, and we're going to see all of that. But these are the 3 basic loops that you have available in JavaScript. Okay, don't worry about for each and map and everything. That is something we can use when you have array like structures. Right now we don't have that. Right now we have to understand the basic loops. Is that clear, everyone? Chandesh God, don't worry, guys, don't worry about for each, map, and all that stuff. That comes later. As I told you, right, as you progress, you'll see multiple versions of loops. You'll see different kinds of loops. But right now, for basics, these are the 3 loops. Is that cleared, everyone? Okay, guys, I hope you guys are understanding. Now then, let's move ahead and let's see the first one, which is exactly same like the example that we wrote just right now before this. Okay, so let's write the first one. So the way in which you write a while loop goes like this. You write the keyword while, then here goes your condition. And then simply inside the block, you write your code. Simple. Exactly same as the thing that we wrote just a few seconds ago. While, the keyword, that means you're applying a while loop, then the condition, and then the code. And it works like similar, perfectly similar, like this. If this condition is correct, it will come inside, execute the code, and it will again go back up. And again check the condition. If it is correct, come inside, execute the code, again go back up. If it is correct, come inside, check the execute the code, again go back up. Till the time condition is correct, it will completely execute itself again and again. Will these loops be valid in JavaScript? Which one? Which one? Tilak, that might be your internet connection, buddy. That might be your internet connection. That might be your internet connection, Tilak. Please check it once. Tilak, that might be your internet connection. Okay, everyone. Can we start now? Okay, so now let's write some condition. Now we know that if you want to write some condition, we need some variable. We have just learned this, right? If I want to write a condition, I need to create a variable, because if I want to write a comparison, I need to create a variable. So to write a condition, you need some data. Okay. So for that, let's simply go on and let's create a variable called a, and let's just give it a value of 1 or 0. Doesn't matter. Let's give it 1. Okay. And now here, let's write if a, while a, or if a, whatever you call it, if, like it's just a condition. So if a is less than 10, I want to execute this. Simply put console.log, let's say hello. That's it, done. Now guys, see, what is my variable? It's a, and the value is 1. And I'm writing if a is less than 10, they should be executed. Perfect. 1 is less than 10. That is perfectly perfect. It will work. But it's a loop. That means it will again go back up. And now it will check again if a is less than 10. And yes, a is still 1. That means it's still less than 10. It will again come inside, execute it. Again, it will go back up and again check if a is less than 10. And yes, a is still 1. That means a is still less than 10. And again, it will execute. That means in this case, a is never changing. In this case, a is never changing, and that means this loop will go on again and again, again and again till infinite times. That means this loop will never stop. And this kind of loop is called as an infinite loop. The loop where condition never goes wrong, the loop where it executes continuously till the end. And that's what we call as an infinite loop, because this loop is never going to stop. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we getting cleared with this? Everyone, are we understanding? Guys, are we cleared? Are we understanding the concept here? Please tell me. Sagar, sir, you have not given increment. Don't worry. I'm explaining that. Don't worry. We also have to understand the concept of infinite loops, right? It's not missing, Sagar. It's not missing. Don't worry. It's not missing. It's just we're going step by step. We also have to understand that increment and decrement, how they come here and why do we use it. Okay. Can you run this infinite loop? Yes, Chandresh, I can obviously run this infinite loop. But the problem will be my browser will hang and then I have to close the browser. Okay. And by that, then maybe my Chrome browser will close. And if my Chrome browser closes, our live session will end. Okay. So that is something I cannot do. But remember, this is an infinite loop. And I'm not running this because if it's an infinite loop, it will continuously execute and it will hang my browser. That means at some point of time, if I want to stop this loop, I have to make this condition wrong. And to make this condition wrong, what I have to do? I simply have to make a greater than 10 or equal to 10. Because my condition is correct if a is less than 10. So I have to make my a at least equal to 10 if I want to make this condition wrong. So let's do it. Let's simply put a equals to 10. Let's see now. So guys, see, focus everyone. Please focus everyone. Please focus. Now my a is 1. It checks 1 is less than 10. Perfect. Come inside, print hello, and now I simply make my a equals to 10. It will again go back up, and now I'm checking 10 less than 10. It's false, and loop will end. That means the loop is only running one time. Let's see if it is working. Save it. And here we go. We only get hello. That's it. So now Again, this is solved. Now the loop is working, but the problem is it is only running one time. It is only running one time. And what if I want to run it multiple times? And the concept here goes like this. If I want to run my loop multiple times, what I have to do is I have to increment or increase the value of A so that it reaches into 10, but slowly. Right now, it is simply becoming 10. And that's why it is getting executed only once. If I want to execute it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, I have to gradually increase the value of A so that it reaches 10 in some point of time, not directly. And for that, what you can simply do is you can say that A equals to A plus 1. That means every time the loop runs, I simply increment it by 1. And at some point of time, if it is incrementing by 1 every time, at some point of time, it will reach 10. And then my loop will stop. Now, what is happening? See, guys, initially A is 1. Perfect. A is less than 10? Yes, obviously. Print hello. And now I'm doing A equals to A plus 1. That means 1 plus 1. Now my new A's value is 2. So now it will check 2 less than 10. Yes, correct. Come inside, print hello. And now A equals to A, that is 2 plus 1, 3. Simple. That means every time my A is incrementing by 1. And that's it. Save it and let's see. And here we go. See, we have printed hello 9 times because from 1 to reach 10, it's going through 9 intervals, and that's it. That's done. That's how it works. So now we are incrementing our A by 1. If we want, we can also increment our A by 2. And here we go. See, now our loop runs only 5 times. Can you guys see it, everyone? So everyone, are we understanding how it is working? We are gradually increasing the value of A. Okay. And when it reaches 10, the loop stops. Everyone, are we cleared? Guys, please tell me, are we cleared with this, everyone? Guys? Okay, that's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, perfect. Now, guys, see, mostly when you write loops, mostly we always increment it by 1. Mostly, the most common increment that people do is increment by 1. Okay, the most common increment that people do is increment by 1. And due to that, we have also an operator that can increment our value by 1 without writing this much code. And that is, you can simply write your variable and add this operator, plus plus. You can add a plus plus operator, which is also called as an increment operator. And it will always increment the value by 1. It is exactly similar to this, A equals to A plus 1. You can call it the replacement for this. But yes, if you want to increment by 2, then you don't have anything like A plus 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 plus. You have to write A equals to A plus 2. But if you are planning to increment it by 1, simply go for A plus plus. So that's just an alternative. That's all. That's just an alternative. Is that clear, everyone? So why was it only once when it was directly 10? Because Manjul Ramesh, think of it like this. If I make A directly equals to 10, what is happening? Let's go through it. Initially, A is 1. We check the condition. 1 is less than 10. Correct. We print it. Hello. Correct. Now our A becomes 10. And now if I go back up, it is checking. A is 10. Is 10 less than 10? No, it's false. Done. Dusted. It will never go ahead. So only once. Because we are simply making our A 10 in only one step. Okay. So that's how it is. So what I wanted to tell you is, guys, a lot of people think that plus plus and minus minus are the only things that you can use in loops. No. Increment and decrement doesn't mean that you simply have to use plus plus or minus minus. No. Sometimes they can come from some other sources. Sometimes they can increment by 2. Sometimes they can increment by 5. Sometimes they can directly increment, like to the end value. Or sometimes you don't increment or decrement them at all if you need an infinite loop. So a lot of people think that A plus plus and minus minus are the only thing that is allowed here. No, you can do anything. You just need to change the value of that variable in the condition. Okay, and to stop it, you just have to make the condition wrong and you can do it in any way, not just increment or decrement. You can do it in any way. That was my intent, to show you everything one by one. And that's how you write loop. And now this code can be anything. In this case, it's simply hello. It can be anything. If you want, you can also print your variable, the loop variable. Simply, doesn't matter. You can also print the A variable, and you can see it live now, how it is changing. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I tell my condition to go till 10, that is less than equal to 10, now my condition will go till 10. So now I'll have something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because now I'm going till 10, not less than 10. Is that cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Everyone, are we cleared? Please tell me. Okay, so that's how the loop is working, and here we go. And write any code here, that whatever you want to execute. And remember, you should understand that how many times you want to execute your loop, and depending on that, you will write the condition and you will increment your variable. Depending on that, you can do it. So if you feel that, okay, fine, I want to run my loop only 5 times, I can go from 1 to 5. If I wanted to run time like 10 times, I'll go from 1 to 10, 1 to 20, depending on my needs. Okay, so that's one thing you should remember. Okay, now then, let's move ahead and let's see the next loop, that is something called as a do while loop. Okay, so let's see. Now, it's also a loop. That means it will also like execute again and again. But what's the difference between do while and while? So let's try to work with it. Okay, so let's comment everything for while. Can you create even number? Why not? It's simple, right? We can do it. It's simple. See, guys, he's asking, Nikhil Kumar is asking, can we perform an even number operation? That means in this case, see, in this case, we are printing all the numbers 1 to 10. He's telling me that we only have, like, what if I only want to print the even numbers? So now you guys know, right? What is like the condition to check if it is an even number or odd number? What is the condition, guys? Do you know? Everyone? How do we know that if a number is even or odd? How do we know if a number is even or odd? We simply divide it by 2, right? We simply divide by 2, and if the remainder is 0, that's an even number. And that's simple. So what you can do is, you can simply do this. Everyone see, now I'm using a condition inside a loop. You can write, see, now the loop is running 10 times. Not a problem. The loop will always run 10 times. But I want to check if A divide by 2, okay, if A divide by 2, and I want a remainder, that's why I'm using modulus. So if A divide by 2 is equal to 0. So if I get the remainder as 0, then it's a even number, and then only print it. So then only print the A. That means if that particular A, whatever is the current value of A, if I divide it by 2 and I get the remainder 0, then only print A, otherwise don't print A. Loop is running 10 times, but I'm printing A only if that particular A value is even. That's all. Loop is running 10 times. Don't worry about the loop. And if we go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Is that clear? And for odd, you simply have to do not equal to 0. And that's it. That's where you get the odd number. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, yes, I'm going to tell you. Don't worry, Avinash. Don't worry. Don't worry. At the end today, I'll tell you what is the difference between let and var. Don't worry at all. Don't worry, Avinash. Don't worry. Let's first complete the loops, and then I'll tell you what is the difference between let and var. Okay, everyone, can we move ahead now? Can we see the next loop now, everyone? Okay, and let me just make normal again. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next loop, and let's see, why do you have another keyword? Like, why do we have another name for a loop? There might be some difference, right? Like, for example, if the concept of loop is same everywhere, why do we have multiple ways of writing loop? Like, that's the question that you should have. If the concept of loop is same everywhere, why do we have while? Why do we have do while? Why do we have for? So there are a few basic, very small differences that make these loops different, and that's why we have multiple ways of writing loops. So let's see the next loop, that is do while, and let's see first of all how to write it. So now again we need a variable because we want to write a condition, right? So again we need a variable. So let's say this time we call it I equals 1. Now, when writing a do while loop, what you do is basically, first of all, you use a do keyword, and then you create a block, and then here you write your code. So let's write our code. Console.log 1, not 1, sorry, I. We're printing the variable, and then again we'll increment it by 1 every time. And then you write your condition at the end, while, and then here you write your condition. For example, let's say I is less than equal to 10. Exactly same that what we did in the while loop. So first you have a variable, and while writing do while, remember, first you write a do keyword, then your block of code, and then at the end you write your condition. Okay, and let's see if it is working same. Let's see if it is working same. Exactly same. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Exactly same. I is 1. Perfect. Do, that means do this, perform this, execute this. Okay, check, print it. Console.log I print 1. I plus plus, I becomes 2. Check the condition. Okay, I'm checking it. 2 is less than 10. Perfect. Again go back to do. Again execute. And again it is going again and again, again and again 10 times. Just like while loop. So then, what is the difference? What is the difference? So now let's see the difference. Now remember guys, in while loop, what we are doing, remember everyone, in while loop what we are doing is, we say check the condition and then execute the code. That means in while loop, first we are checking the condition and then we are executing the code. Remember guys, first we are checking the condition and then we are executing the code. And in do while loop, first we are executing the code and then we are checking the condition. That's the whole difference. In while loop, we first check the condition and then execute the code. In do while loop, we first execute the code and then check the condition. Now, normally it will not make a difference. If you write the same thing, it will not make a difference. But where it makes a difference, let's see. So first of all, let's go in while. Let's do this. Let's change the value of a to 12. Let's change the value of a to 12. And now see what happens. The while loop is not executing because when it is checking the condition, I'm directly getting 12 and 12 is not less than 10 and we are not executing it. Okay. And let's perform the exact same thing with do while loop. Let's make the condition false in the first step only. And let's see what is happening in do while. Let's again make it 12 here as well. You can see I'm still checking for 10. Okay. So let's see. Now my condition is wrong initially. I know that. In the first time only my condition is wrong. But let's see what is happening. We are executing it at least once. And why? Because we don't check the condition first, because we first execute the code. And that's why even if the condition is wrong at the first time, it still executes. After that it checks, okay, fine, it's wrong, I should not execute. But for the first time it will execute it, because in do while loop we are first executing the code. So no matter what, no matter if the condition is right or wrong, we're executing the code. So we execute it and then we move to condition, and now it checks. It is wrong, leave it. But at least it got executed once. So that's the basic difference between while and do while. While checks the condition first. And that's what is also called as an entry control loop, because it checks the condition in entry. And do while loop checks the condition at exit. And that's why it is called as exit control loop. So while is an entry control loop and do while is an exit control loop. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Everyone, are we cleared? Please tell me. Everyone? Okay, that's really cool. Now let's see the last loop. That's going to be really simple, and it is one of the most used loop. Okay, one of the most famous loops. That is the for loop. Now, for is also an entry control loop. That means it is exactly similar to the while loop, but the only difference is in the syntax, in the way you write it. Okay, and what it says is, see, normally what we do here is, when you write a normal while loop, you create your variable in the start, and then you write while, and then you write your condition, and then you write your increment decrement at the end in the code. Okay, that means, see guys, these are the three basic components of a loop: the initialization, the condition, and the increment decrement. These are the three basic elements. These are the three basic building properties of loop. You need an initialization of a variable, you need a condition, you need an increment decrement. These are the three basic bodies or three basic things inside a loop, basic properties of the loop. Okay, so what for loop does is, it tells you that, okay, fine, you can write the three basic things of the loop inside one parenthesis. You don't have to write at three different places. You can simply go on and write the initialization here only. For example, I equals 1. And if you write the condition, put a semicolon and write down the condition as well here. And for increment decrement, again put a semicolon and write down this here. And that's it. And then in the bracket, only write down your important code. That's all. Only write down your important code. That's it. That's what for loop says. So it's exactly like while loop, but the only difference is here you get a better writing point. Okay, So all the basic properties are written at one place so that if you want to change it or see it, you have only one place. Think of it like this. If you're writing a while loop and your A++ is at the very end and the code is 100 lines long, you have to always scroll up and down to see what is happening if you want to change anything in A++. But in while loop, the three basic components of a loop are at one place. So you can see what is going on at one place. It exactly works like a while loop. First initializes, checks the condition, execute the code, increment, checks the condition again, execute the code, increment, check the condition till it is becoming false. Exactly like while loop, but the only difference is you write everything at one place. That's all. Is this cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? Kiran, don't worry, Kiran Kanti. Don't worry, just wait for some time. I'll tell you. Don't worry. So, guys, are we cleared? So, for loop is syntactically better than while loop. Okay, it's exactly working like a while loop, but it's syntactically better. The way of writing is much more cleared and better. Okay, and now let's do the same thing. Console.log I. And let's see. Oh, why do we have this? Save it and let's see. And you can see we again get the exact same output. Okay, so that's how it works, everyone. What is the value of I after the loop? Don't worry, Chandresh. Let's go step by step. I'm going to tell you that as well. Let's go step by step. We also have to understand few concepts. So first of all, guys, tell me, are we cleared with while, do while, and for? Everyone? No, Manjul Ramesh, that's how for loop works, buddy. It understands that, okay, fine, this is increment, and it knows that you want to execute this at the end. It's just, it gives you a better way of writing. For is nothing but a syntactically better way than while. For follows a syntactically better way than while. It's exactly like while, but it's syntactically better than while. It's good in writing. And that's why it is one of the most common loops and famous loops, because you write it easily, and every component of the loop is at one place. Okay, everyone. So are we cleared? And yep, Vishwa is asking short recap on loops. So simple. A loop is nothing but something that executes itself again and again. First point. A loop is nothing but something that executes itself again and again. And whenever you feel I have some code that I want to execute again and again, you can put it inside a loop. That's it. Okay. And a loop only stops if the condition is wrong. Is that cleared? Okay. Now, guys, time to understand the difference between let and for. Condition is false. Where? Sakshi, where do you, where are you finding the condition is false? Yes, at one time this condition will become false when the I becomes greater than 10. Yep, then only the condition will become false, Sakshi. Okay, guys. So now time to understand the difference between let and for. Okay. Actually, there is one more thing that we should learn before that. We should also understand about functions. But yeah, you'll understand it in future. So let's try to understand the difference now. Okay. Now see, the difference is var is function scoped. Okay. Var is function scoped and let is block scoped. This is the basic difference between let and var. Sakshi is asking the condition is false. Where is the condition false? No, Sakshi. What is your confusion? There is no confusion. There is no condition wrong. See, initially I is 1. Okay. It will check the condition. Okay. Yes, 1 is less than 10. Perfect. We'll go inside, print the I, and then it will increment. Okay, fine. Now I becomes 2. Check the 2. 2 is less than 10. Yes, correct. Come inside, execute the code, and again go here and increment. It's less than symbol, Sakshi. Is that cleared? And only when the I is incrementing and becomes 11, then only this condition will become wrong. Is that cleared, Sakshi? Sakshi, are we cleared? Okay, guys. So now let's move ahead. So I was telling you that var is function scoped and let is block scoped. So what is the difference? What is the meaning of function scoped and block scoped? Let's try to understand that. Okay. What is the shortcut key to comment the line? Control slash Ayushi. You have to press control slash to comment out the line. Just press control slash. That's it. Okay. So control slash to comment, control slash to uncomment, control and slash. Okay. What change we have to make it infinite loop? Remember, remove the increment decrement. Remove the increment and that's it. It will become an infinite loop. Simple. Is it clear, Vaibhav? Okay. Basically, if you don't increment, the condition will never become wrong. Okay, guys, now let's focus. Let's focus. Now, to show you this, what I'm going to do is, guys, please focus everyone. I will create my variable using var. I will create my variable using var, and then I'll try to access the value of variable I outside the loop. Okay. Now, before everything, I want to tell you one thing. What is a scope? Scope is nothing but an area between curly braces, a block scope, an area between a block. So see, this is a block. Wherever you have this is a block, and the area between this is called as a scope of a block. Simple. The area between this area is nothing but the scope of this block. So this is a block, and this area between this is nothing but a scope of the block. Is that clear, everyone? That is what we call as a scope of a block. Now, please focus. What I want to tell here is, okay. Now, as I told you, that var is function scoped and let is block scoped. So now, to show you the example, what I did is I created my variable using var. Okay, and here this is a block. Okay, we know that this here is a block. Everyone, please focus. This here is a block, and I created my variable using var. Now, normally in all the programming languages like C, C++, and Java, everything is block scoped. Everywhere, everything is block scoped. Remember, guys, in C++, in Java, everything is block scoped until and unless you define some other scope for them. But normally, everything is block scoped. Now here, I create my variable using var. Okay, and this is my block. And in any other programming language, if you create a variable inside a for loop, it should only be accessible inside this block. Normally, in all the programming languages like C, C++, Java, if you create a variable inside the loop, it should be only accessible inside the loop block, not outside the loop block. But let's see what is happening here. I'm trying to access I outside the loop block. Let's see what is happening. And you can see I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus at the end I get 11. That means I can simply access I outside the block, because var is not block scoped, var is function scoped. Var is function scoped. And right now we have not learned functions. So that was that's what I was telling you, that we should first learn functions. But just try to understand, this whole JavaScript page is a big function. Think of it like this. This whole JS page is a big function. So if you create a variable using var, in this case, it will be available everywhere in the page. Everywhere. No matter in which block you create it, no matter where you create it, doesn't matter. Even if you have a if block like this, okay, and inside this block, if you create a variable, let's say you have a if block like this, and inside this block, if you create a variable using var like this, still this A will be available everywhere, outside the if block, everywhere. Okay, that's what var does. And this is what was making JavaScript a bad language. Because in every other language, everything is block scoped, but here var is function scoped. And it can be simply accessed. Even if you create it inside a block, it can access it outside the block. And that's the problem. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we understanding? Please tell me. Are we understanding? Don't worry. Tomorrow we'll learn functions. Then I'll also make you understand what is function scoped. Right now, think of this page like a big function, and it is accessible everywhere. Are we cleared, everyone? Please tell me, are we cleared? And this is not a good standard, because in every other language, everything is block scoped. And here var is simply going outside the block. Okay, and that's the problem. And that's why in 2015, in ES6 version of the JavaScript, we got something called as let, which solved this problem and made JavaScript a better programming language by making the variables block scoped. And now see, now I have created this I using let inside the loop. That means now this variable should be only accessible inside this loop block, not the outside the block. So let's see. And here we go. See, it prints till 10, but at the end it tells me I is not defined. That means it is unable to find I outside the loop. And that's how it works. And that's why we should also create our variables using let, because now that's the good standard. Var is outdated and we should never use var from now. Okay. Sheikh Mohammed Noman, no, var is not global scope. Var is function scoped. Right now we don't have a function, so it's tougher to understand. But when we have functions, you'll understand it easily. Var is not global scope. Var is function scoped. Is that cleared? So for example, think of it like this. Let's say you have a function. Guys, see, I have not explained you function right now, but let's say I'm creating a function, okay? Just for explanation, I'm creating a function. So I create a function, okay? See, I create a function named demo. So inside this, even if we have a if block, okay, when I say function scoped, I mean this, not global, I mean function. Okay, so I have a if block, and here I have some kind of condition. And inside this, if I create a variable called a equals 1, guys, please focus everyone. This a will be available everywhere inside this function. This function is also a block, but it's a function. So this a will be available everywhere inside this function, not outside the function. If you don't have this function, then a is available everywhere. But if you have the function, this a is available inside the function anywhere. Even if I have created it inside this if block, it will still be available everywhere in the function. That's what we mean by function scoped. That's what I mean by function scoped. But if I create it using let, this a will be only available inside this if block, not outside this if block. That's it. If we write let outside for loop, then it can be accessible. Yes, Utkarsha Patil, yes, definitely. Definitely it will be outside, it will be accessible outside because you have created it outside. Is that clear? And that's the block. Suppose I have an input tag to get input, then how to print it on the console without using any button tag? I can show it to you tomorrow. Don't worry, we're going to learn DOM manipulation tomorrow. So not a problem. Okay, everyone, are we cleared? Guys, are we cleared? Please tell me, everyone, are we cleared? So if you don't have this function, then only var becomes global scoped. But if you have a function over it, then var is function scoped. If you don't have a function, then the whole page is a big function. Okay, and then var is available everywhere. So I hope now that the doubt of the difference between let and var is cleared. Everyone, are we cleared now? Please tell me. Okay. How to join the community? I think we have a group link in the chat only, right? Umang, can you just dump the group link in the chat continuously 2-3 times? So guys, the group link is in like the group link is in the chat. You can just click on it, sign up on LetsUpgrade.in, and you can join it. Is that cleared? Okay. Now guys, let's move ahead. So everyone, are we clear with the loops concept? Please tell me, guys. Are we cleared with the concept of loops? And don't worry, we'll also learn array today only. We still have 15 minutes. We can still learn arrays. Don't worry about the switch case. I'll cover that as well. It's really simple. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What if I is declared outside the loop? Then what are its values before and after the loop? Simple. Whatever you initialize it with, that's the before loop value. And if you work in the loop, if you increment it, then outside the loop, you'll have the final incremented value. Simple. So whatever value you have given it initially, that is the value it will have before loop. And after the loop performance, it will have the final incremented value. Simple. Okay, guys. So now we are done with loops. Let me comment it. And now let's move on to the next topic. Now, see, guys, I know that I'm going a little fast, but I think it's fine because we still have we really have only 3 days. We have less time. But I really hope that everything is getting cleared. I'm still taking time, and I'm also extending the batch for 15 minutes. Our time is 7:30, but I'll take it to 7:45 because I want to cover a few important topics. Okay, everyone? So I really hope that everything is getting cleared. Okay. Now, guys, let's move ahead then. Let's move ahead and let's move on to the next topic. That is the topic of arrays. Okay, and only because tomorrow I want to show you a little bit of DOM manipulation. That's why I'm trying to cover arrays today. If you guys want, I can also go for arrays and objects tomorrow, but then we have to skip DOM manipulation. So what do you guys say? And then we can also cover DOM manipulation in the next essentials. So is it enough enough to take for today? Or should we learn array, or should we learn array and objects completely tomorrow, so that you can also get in the loops in your mind properly, and then we can learn array and objects tomorrow? What do you guys say? Learn array today? Okay, that's great. Then tomorrow we can focus on objects for some time, for 15 minutes, and then we can move to DOM manipulation. Okay, that's perfect. So now we are on the topic of arrays, and it's a really simple topic. A lot of people find it hard. Even when I started learning, I found it hard. But after understanding, I understood how simple it is actually. Okay. So what is an array? What is an array? An array is nothing but a collection of elements of same type. It's nothing but what? A collection of elements of same type. Collection of elements of same type. Now it can be a collection of numbers, it can be a collection of strings, it can be a collection of names, it can be a collection of cities. Simple thing to remember is it's nothing but a collection of elements of same type stored in a single variable. Stored in a single variable. That's the best thing. For example, let's say you want to store 5 values. Normally, what do we do? If I want to store 5 values, I will create 5 different variables. Normally, if I want to store 5 values, I will create 5 different variables. Okay. But what if there was a way to store 5 different values into a single variable? And don't worry, it will also give us a lot of advantages. Okay. But that's what we call as an array. A group of elements, a group of elements, group of same type of elements stored in a single variable. That's what you call as an array. Simple. It's nothing but a group of same type of element, a collection of numbers, a group of numbers, a group of strings, and that's it. That's what we call as an array, and the whole array can be stored inside a single variable, so that is easier for us to understand. Is that clear, everyone? Are we cleared? Are we clear with the definition, everyone? And now we'll see how to create it actually, and it's really simple in JavaScript. But remember the concept: collection of elements of same type stored in a single variable is an array. Simple. So let's see how to create an array in JavaScript, and it's really simple. So what you do is you first create a variable. So let's call it let arr. We call it arr. Okay. And then in JS, if you want to create an array, it's simple. Just use square brackets. And now inside this, you can actually pass multiple values separated by commas. And that's it. You can pass multiple values separated by commas. That means now this arr variable is nothing but an array. It's storing a group of numbers. It's storing a collection of numbers. And these are all the different numbers that you have stored inside that variable. Is that clear? And that's it. Now you have created an array of 5 numbers, 5 values, 5 separate values. Is that clear, everyone? That's how you create an array in JavaScript. There is one more way actually. I want to tell you. There is one more way of doing the exact same thing. You can do this. Now this is a pretty old way, but you have it like this: new array. And the exact same thing. Both will create an array. Both will create an array. Simple. Now you decide which one is better. For me, I think the first one is much more cleaner and simpler because it doesn't have any extra keyword or something like that, right? So first one is the best way, and I would suggest you to follow that only. So never follow this one. Okay. And that's how you create an array in JavaScript. Now let's try to print the whole array at once in the console. So let's do a console.log arr. Save it. And here we go. See, 23, 45, 67, 89, 12. And here we have 5. It's basically telling me how many elements are there in the array. So on the console, you can simply print the complete array. That's the benefit of console. You can also print your whole array at once in the console. And it also tells you how many elements are there in the array. You have 5 elements. You have how many elements? 5 elements. Is that clear, everyone? So that's nothing but the length of the array. The length of the array is exactly equal to how many elements you have in the array. So you have 5 elements, and that is nothing but the length of the array. That's also called as the length of the array. Is that clear, everyone? Now, this is very simple. These things are very simple to understand. But the problem arises when you want to access the element, when you want to use a particular element or a particular number from that array or a particular string from that array. How are you going to use them? So now there's a technique. Now remember, guys, this is a single variable holding 5 different values. What if the user wants to use a single value from that? How are we going to access a single value? So there is a trick. Remember, arrays stores all the elements based on something called as indexing, or you can call it as numbering, but mostly you can call it as indexing. Okay. So basically, a unique index is applied to all the elements stored in the array. A unique counting index. So for example, it goes like this. This element is stored on 0th index. This element is stored on 1st index, 2nd index, 3rd index, and so on, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Remember, the indexing or the counting of the element always starts from 0. In arrays, the indexing or the counting of the elements always start from 0. Okay. So for example, if I want to access the first element, remember the first element is always at the 0th index. Okay. So you simply write your array name, which is basically complete array, but I only want to access the first element. So you simply write the array, again square brackets, and here you can specify the index, which element you want to access. So if I want to access the first one, the index is 0. So I'm trying to access the first element. So ARR of 0, ARR of 0. That means the first element, the 0th element from the array. Remember, the counting in the array always starts from 0. No matter which programming language you're using, it's always starts from 0. So ARR of 0 will definitely give you the first element. Save it. And here we go. We have 23. That is nothing but the first element. But then why it is showing us 5 elements? Where? Because we printed the whole array, right? Now we printed ARR of 0. Initially, we simply printed ARR Manjul Ramesh. Initially, we simply printed ARR. That is nothing but the complete array. And that's why it was showing the whole element thing. Now we are saying it, okay, I only want to print the first element. Is it cleared, Manjul Ramesh? Is it cleared? Initially, I printed the whole array. ARR is the whole array. ARR of 0 is the first element. Is that cleared, Manjul Ramesh? Okay. Now, come on, guys, tell me, just a question for you. What if I want to access the 89? On what index is 89? Come on, tell me, everyone. On what index is 89 in this array? Everyone, come on fast. Come on, everyone. Okay, I get 3 everywhere. Mohammed Kaf, it's not 4, buddy. See, as I said, the indexing starts from 0. So count it. 0, 1, 2, 3. And that's it. That is the third index. And I should get 89. And that's it. Remember, Mohammed Kaf, remember everyone. Arrays indexing starts from 0. Length is different. Length is the number of elements. That is 5, definitely. Counting starts from 5, but indexing starts from 0. And to access elements, you need indexing. Remember it. Okay? That's cool. That's really cool. Amazing. Now, think of it like this. What if I want to print all the elements? So I can go like this, right? Error of 0, error of 1, error of 2, error of 3, and error of 4. And this should print all the values, right? They should print all the values. Here we go. 23, 45, 67, 89, 12. How do I print each number with index? I'll show you. Don't worry. I'll show you. Don't worry at all. Okay, everyone. How to add all the elements or an array integer? How to add an element in the array? I'll show you that as well. Don't worry. Don't worry. Guys, so are we cleared with this? So now by this, we have printed all the elements. Don't worry, guys. We're going step by step. I'll also show you how to print indexes and everything. We are going step by step. So now we have printed all the elements. But this looks a bit messier. Why? Because think of it like this. Right now, you have 5 elements. So we wrote console.log 5 times. What if I had 10 elements? What if I had 15 elements? What if I had 1,000 elements or 2,000 elements? Are you guys understanding? So I have to write console.logs that many times if I want to print each and every element. And that's a problem. So if you see the code, everyone, for all the beginners, if you see this code, you can see that it is the exact same code again and again. And there is only one thing that is changing. That is the numbering. So do we have anything that we can use to execute a code again and again? And we can also increment or decrement something, because you can see I'm incrementing from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4. So the code lines are exactly same, but there is only one increment thing. So do we have anything? Have we learned anything yet that can execute the same code again and again, and also we can have an increment or decrement feature there? Do we have anything? Exactly. We have the loop concept, and that's what we're going to apply. So we know I want to go from 0 to 4. I want to go from 0 to 4. Okay. So let's do it. For let I equal 0. Why 0? Because I want to start from 0. My number will start from 0. And I want to go till 4. So less than equal to 4. And then I want to increment it. So I plus plus. Now I know that this loop will run 5 times. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my loop will run 5 times. And that's what I want. And also print console.log ARR of. Now I'm not going to put 0. If I put error of 0, the first element will be printed 5 times. See this? 23 is printing 5 times because this loop is running 5 times and I'm simply printing error of 0 5 times. So instead of that, what I can do is I can put here my I variable because I know that I is going from 0 till 4 and my array is also going from 0 till 4. So by that, I can print all the elements. And here I have 23, 45, 67, 89, and 12. Is that clear, everyone? So that's how you can use a loop to print the array. And now even if it is 1,000 times 10,000 elements of array, 40,000 elements of array, doesn't matter because I have a loop. Is that cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Please tell me, everyone, are we cleared with this? So basically we used a loop to print the values of an array. And now if I want to print indexes, we know how to print it. We also have the index. I is nothing but something that is behaving like an index because I is going from 0 to 4, right? So just put comma and print the I as well. And here we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We also have the indexes. So someone was asking, right, how can I print the indexes as well? So here we go. Can we create API? Yes, we can create APIs. I think in some short time, we're also going to have some Node.js essentials. So in there, we're going to create APIs. Don't worry. What if we don't know the size of the array, still we want to print all the elements of the array? Ashwani, that's a great question. And for that, there is a property that is applied to the arrays. So for example, now I know that I have 4 elements. I know that I have 5 elements and I have to go till 4. Okay. But you have one more thing. You can also write array dot length. But you know that array dot length is 5. But I only want to go till 4. So don't write equal to, just write less than. And that's it. Now you don't have to worry about the size of the array. Sorted. I will be always less than array dot length. So if array dot length is 6, that means the last index is 5. If the array dot length is 7, the last index is 6. If the array dot length is 10, the last index is 9. That's why less than array dot length, and that's it, done. So either less than equal to array dot length minus 1, or simply put less than array dot length, and that's it, done. Sorted. Now if you don't know the length, doesn't matter, still works. So guys, are we cleared? Please tell me, everyone. Yes, Vaibhav, you're getting notes on the community if you join the group. See guys, the group link is in the chat. If you join that group, I post the files that we create here and also the assignment question on the group. I hope everyone found that yesterday, right? I post today's files as well as the assignment question on the group. Okay, so you guys have the link in the chat. Click on it and please join the group. For each loop on array, yes, Kritiraj, we also have for each loop. But see, this is JS for beginners, right? So we are trying to cover all the basic things, but not a problem. Tomorrow I'll try to cover for each as well. But this is JS for beginners, right? So that's why we are trying to cover all the basics first, because a lot of people in this session are also some people that who don't like have never learned JS at all. So this is for all the people. That's why we are always covering the basics first, and then we can move on to for each, map, and all sorts of stuff. So tomorrow we can also go for what you call for each. Please, what is length? Ola Kunle, it's nothing but it's simply the size of the array. That's all. I can show you. Console.log array.length. It's a property that all the arrays have. If you print it, see, you simply get the size of the array. That's it. You simply get the size of the array. That's it. Ola Kunle, I hope it is clear, buddy. You simply get the size of the array. Okay, everyone, are we cleared with loops? Are we cleared with arrays? So that's how basic arrays work. Now see, if you want, instead of numbers, you can also have like strings. For example, let's say I'll put Avenger name. So let's put Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Hawkeye. So instead of numbers, you can also have strings, and you can also print strings. Doesn't matter. See, you can still print it. Here we go. Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow. Simple. Okay. So everyone, are we cleared? Guys, everyone, please tell me, are we clear with everything? Everyone, guys, sir, can we put string name as well as number in same array? Yes, Lucky, in JavaScript it is possible, but you should not do that. That violates the concept of arrays. Lucky, yes, if you want, you can do it, but that violates the concept of arrays. That's why you should not do it. Okay, that's not a good standard. If you're telling it, if you're calling it an array, and if you put multiple different types of data, that's not a good standard. Okay, Lucky. Okay, everyone. So are we cleared? Please tell me, guys, because this is the end for today's session, and tomorrow we'll start with objects, and we'll see array of objects, and then at the end we'll also see DOM manipulation, the basic DOM manipulation, and we will also create a really simple mini thing. So don't worry about that. So what if we want to print from between of the array? Then you can start from the between of the array. Instead of 0, start from like 3 or 4. Doesn't matter. Okay, guys. So I hope everyone is cleared. All these files and the assignment question will be on the community group in the next 1 hour. So please be there. It will be available and then you can solve it. The group link is in the chat. And also, guys, please tell me, did you enjoy today's session? I just want to know that, everyone. Have we enjoyed today's session, everyone? Because that's the best thing I want to hear. Have we enjoyed it, everyone? That is really cool. That is really cool. And see, guys, like in this JS Essentials, we have a really short time. So we're still trying to cover a lot of things. Maybe in future, in some future JS Essentials, we are going to have a lot of time and then we can do a lot of things. Because, you know, in the past JS Essentials, we have created some pretty cool projects. And in future, if we have any JS Essentials again, with some big span time, we'll again create some pretty cool projects. And also, guys, you can join our advanced courses of JavaScript and whole web development thing, where I teach everything from start to bottom. Okay, so just go on the community, find out all the courses, and if you're interested, you can also join there. And tomorrow I'll meet you at the same time at 6 o'clock, and we'll start with objects and DOM manipulation. Okay, and about assignments and these files, it will be available on the community in the next 1 hour. Okay, everyone. So you can see the web development course link is also in the chat. So if you're interested, you can go on and check it out. What are all things that there? What is the curriculum? What we teach in there? And there we start everything from scratch and we build a lot of projects for fun. So you can see and enjoy learning there. Lucky, you want to learn JSON deep? So yes, buddy, you can join our course. You can actually join our course. So you can just go on the community, find out the web development course, and you can see there. And there I teach JS from the very beginning to the very end. We create around 4 to 5 projects in JS and we create a lot of really cool stuff. And we learn JS in very deep, asynchronous JavaScript, networking, consuming APIs, promises, everything. We have it there. And yes, I'll also tell you about Angular and React tomorrow. Don't worry, guys. Yes, Vaibhav, you will get certificates for this course as well. Yeah. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for attending. And I'll see you tomorrow exactly at 6. Please call your friends. Please tell your friends to join here so that they can also learn few things. Because tomorrow is again an important session. We're going to learn about objects. That is one of the most important things in JavaScript. Objects is one of the most important things in JavaScript. And after that, we'll also learn DOM manipulation. Okay, everyone? So thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow at 6, everyone. Bye-bye.